checking out Pac-10 Sports Talk. This segment, we got our Pac-10 Bowl matchups. First game we're going to talk about is the Holiday Bowl. Nebraska's going to be playing Washington. Joel, what do you think?
Well, on the surface here, this doesn't appear to be a great matchup. You got a 10-3 Nebraska team versus a 6-6 Washington team. And they also played earlier this year at Husky Stadium, which Nebraska won 56-21.
Ouch.
When you look at some statistics, when you look at Nebraska when they're on offense, they have the 10th best rushing offense, and they're going to be going against the Huskies, which is 103rd in rush defense. And when Washington's got the ball, they're 93rd in scoring offense, and you're going against Nebraska, who's 10th in scoring defense.
I'm liking this game.
So again, when you look at it on the surface, it doesn't appear to be much hope for Washington. However, you know, Nebraska has struggled the last couple of games. They have lost 2 of their last 3, and Washington's won their last 3. And like we've talked about, their offense, I think, has been looking much better with their ground game. And so there is room for optimism for Washington. So that's why they play these games. You know, a couple years ago, who would have thought Utah would have beat Alabama? So that's why you play these games.
Yeah. Well, historically, this matchup pits the number 3 Pac-10 team versus the number 5 Big 12 team. However, this year in the Big 12, there's 5 teams that are identical 6-2 records, so it's pretty hard to determine actually who's the number 5 team in that conference. You know, the Cornhuskers, while they've been vying for a Big 12 championship this year, the Huskies, as Joel said, they've had to win the last 3 games just to get into a bowl competition. So, you know, honestly, if I'm a Cornhusker fan, I'm thinking I deserve a little bit better than this bowl matchup. A lot better than this matchup. Playing a team we've already beat, not just beat, annihilated. And yeah, the Huskies are on a little mini roll right now, having won the last 3 games. You might think, well, maybe the game will be a little bit closer, but you know what? If I'm a Husker fan, as I said, I'm not convinced. And I may not even make the trip down to see the game. And quite honestly, if I'm a Husky fan, I may not make the trip to see the game either. So I think the 10 is going to be down in the Holiday Bowl this year.
Do you think the same thing? Do you think Husky fans and...
I think Husker fans will still go. In fact, I think on the flip side, I think it's in San Diego, and if you're guaranteed a bowl victory, if you're a Husker fan, that's what you're thinking, I think you go. I think you go for the fun, the enjoyment of San Diego, plus knowing that you're probably going to win the game.
Okay. The next bowl game we've got is Alamo Bowl, and we've got Oklahoma State playing Arizona. Jack, what's your preview?
Well, you know, this game pits the 3rd highest scoring team in America against a team that's lost their last 4 games. And maybe they've lost a little bit of confidence as well. You know, the game also matches coaches that kind of have a similar background as well. Mike Gundy was a former Cowboy quarterback, and he's in his 6th year. His first year he was 4-7, and now he's brought that program to national prominence. And same with Mike Stoops. He started out with, you know, 3-7, a couple of years like that. And now if he wins this game, he'll have 3 straight years that his team finished 8-5. You know, the Cowboys, they're a high-scoring team. They lost 2 games this year to really good teams in high-scoring contests. 51-41 to Nebraska, 47-41 to Oklahoma. Arizona, on the other hand, in the Holiday Bowl last year, was blown out by another Big 12 opponent, 33-0. And they might have set a record, Holiday Bowl record for futility in that game, where they got 6 first downs, 109 total yards, and I think they punted 9 times. But on the other hand, the Cowboys aren't a stranger to being futile in bowl games either. Last year they played Mississippi in the Cotton, and they turned the ball over 7 times, so anything can happen.
This game comes down to offense. You're going against, you're going to go with Arizona, who's ranked 23rd in total offense, versus Oklahoma State, which is 2nd in total offense. And you know, both teams probably are very optimistic. You have an Oklahoma State team which is very balanced. And in fact, they're very similar to an Oregon team that put up 48 points against Arizona. Reason for optimism there. And if you're Arizona State, who relies on the passing game, you're going against an Oklahoma State defense, which is 115th in pass defense. So reason for optimism for there. So anyways, I think it'll be a fun matchup, and we'll see which defense can create a turnover.
Nick Foles needs to be on fire, doesn't he?
He definitely has to be playing good.
Yeah.
The kicker's got to come through.
Yeah, better not come down to the kicker.
Hope that God's not watching.
Okay, let's talk about the Orange Bowl. We got Stanford's going to go play Virginia Tech. I'm excited about this game. What do you think, Joel?
One of the best matchups. You have two of the hottest teams probably in the nation right now. You have Stanford, that's on a 7-game winning streak, against Virginia Tech, who's on a 11-game winning streak. Definitely not the same team, Virginia Tech, who lost those first 2 games that were kind of like, what the heck is up with these guys? Much different team now. And to break them down, for me personally, I think when I break down offensively, I would have to give the edge to Stanford. Probably by a large amount. I mean, Stanford can beat you with not only the run game, but obviously with the best quarterback in the land, with Andrew Luck. But defensively, I have to give the edge definitely to Virginia Tech. And I would definitely have to give the edge to special teams to Virginia Tech. So it's kind of a, you know, Stanford's better offense, but defense, special teams, I give to Virginia Tech. And it may come down to turnovers. When you look at the turnover margins, you got Virginia Tech, ranks #1 in the nation, versus Stanford, who's #3 in the nation. So both of them take care of the ball especially well. Could come down to a turnover. It'll be interesting to see, for sure.
Well, you know, outside of the loss to Oregon earlier on, Stanford hasn't really been challenged very much, except by USC and Arizona State. And additionally, they have, as Joel mentioned, they got Andrew Luck on the team, who's probably the best pure passer in America. And so you think, like Joel said earlier, Virginia Tech got beat twice in the first 2 games, and by James Madison no less. And you think, man, this is going to be a blowout, right? But like Joel says, things have changed since then. And Virginia Tech, and you know, I've said many times in this program that college football is like 80 to 85% talent and 15 to 20% mental attitude for your games. And so maybe early on, they just didn't have the mentality going. Confidence or identity, I'm not sure what was missing, but evidently they've got it all together now. They won the last 11 games. So I think it's going to be a really good matchup, and it's going to be one that I'm looking forward to. Another thing, the Pac-10, honestly, they need to win this game, because there's some perception that, you know, the Pac-10 is not very good, especially in the years that USC isn't very good. There was a perception that the Pac-10 isn't very good. So if the Pac-10 wants to prove to the nation that we're not just USC and the 9 Dwarfs, then they need to win this, honestly.
I just hope Stanford has more than 2,000 fans that travel to this game. Because typically they don't travel well.
That's right.
Hopefully on TV it looks a little bit better.
Yeah. Okay, last one I want to talk about, the BCS Championship. Oregon and Auburn at the Natty Bowl. Jack, what do you think?
Oh, well, you know, if you pay attention to the message boards across the nation, and a lot of fans do, there seems to be like 3 different camps of thought and sentiments on this game. In the first camp, you've got people simply rooting against Auburn because they think the NCAA should award the boom on Auburn for the Cam Newton fiasco. The second camp is subscribers to the Big Ten and Big 12 kind of mentality that the Pac-10 doesn't have any physical teams. And so you can't really, you can play those soft teams in the Pac-10, but when you get into a big bowl game, for example, Ohio State last year, then you start folding. So, as a Pac-10 fan, quite honestly, I'm ready to put that storyline to bed. As you remember, back a few years ago, Oregon played Colorado in the Fiesta Bowl in 2001, and same storyline back then. Everybody said, you know, Oregon's not physical enough. Colorado's going to overpower them. Well, we know how that turned out. Colorado got 49 yards rushing on the ground, and Oregon blew them out. So, but on the other hand, Auburn has probably the most dominant player to come across college football in the last 20 years. This guy's a freak of nature. And you know, when you try to tackle the guy, if it's on the 4-yard line, he's going to probably score anyway because it takes 4 yards to wrestle the guy to the ground. But on the other hand, this is despite a lot of people who don't think that Oregon's probably not going to win this game, a lot of people are going to watch it because they like the explosive nature of it, and they want to see what the final outcome is. If it's going to be 65 to 55 or what.
Offensive showdown for sure. And especially on the rushing side, it's pitting the #6 best rushing team in Auburn against Oregon, which is ranked 4th nationally. And for scoring, Oregon's #1 in scoring, and you got Auburn, who's also 6th. I mean, so high octane offenses. It's going to come down to which defense can hold can hold the other team. For Oregon, you obviously have to contain. And I use just the word contain because you're not going to stop Cam Newton. No. And for Auburn, you know, I think Oregon presents a little bit more of a problem as far as I think they're more of a dual threat and especially with Auburn, who struggles on, if anything, on their defense, they struggle with their pass defense, which is ranks 104th in passing defense. So Oregon should be able to put the ball in the air. Also, I give the edge to special teams to Oregon handily on that. All that to say, if I had to predict the score right now, I don't know who I would pick. I mean, honestly, I could see it going so many different ways. I think it's going to be a real close game, but it's which defense can probably come up and muster up a defensive stop or a turnover, probably.
Okay, there you have our preview right now. What's your preview of the games coming out? Leave your comments on our Facebook page or on our YouTube page. We really appreciate you guys checking out our videos. I'm Donovan.
I'm Joel. I dare you to leave a comment.
I'm Jack.
And he double dog dares you to leave a comment.